The big game this weekend is Spurs versus Liverpool. Liverpool with their first test, in my opinion, first proper test of the season against Spurs at Wembley. Last time out at Wembley, lost 4-1. So we're going to dive into this game because it's two very evenly based and put together teams. So we're going to find out through Chris from the Redmen TV and Flav from the Fighting Cock who's going to win that game and where the key battles are. Just to say, this video is sponsored by the OneFootball app. It's a cracking app. Using personalised news feeds, push notifications and user-friendly interface, OneFootball makes it easy to keep up to date with the latest transfer news, scores and stats in one central place. Don't worry guys, that was just Flav sneezing. So check out OneFootball by clicking the link in the description below. It is a cracking app. You can keep up to date on the news or injury news in the lead up to the games. So if you're a Spurs or Liverpool fan, you can do that. But you can also keep an eye on all the other fixtures as the games are going on. But yeah, actually your game will be on its own because it'll be 12:30 on Saturday. And it's got a bit tasty, these games now with Spurs and Liverpool. Would you agree?
It's the rivalry that no one will admit to, and I think if you ask Liverpool fans, there's no rivalry. If you ask Tottenham fans, there's no rivalry.
There is no rivalry. Like, rivalry suggests some sort of history, and you know, Everton and Man United are Liverpool's rivals. Ours are West Ham, Chelsea, and Arsenal. Rivalry is the wrong word. It's this internet sort of Twitter account war. So it probably doesn't have any place in football at all. Do you know what I mean?
Not. On the pitch, both teams have progressed year on year. They're both very strong and very comfortable, I think, in the top.
Certainly since our respective managers have come in, yeah.
Certainly, yeah. Both have got managers that the fans like, and I think the wider press like as well. But going into this game, 4 out of 4, you've got to be. Have you got the advantage, do you think, with that kind of start to the season?
Maybe, maybe not. I think Tottenham are one of those teams that I massively respect. Pochettino's a coach that I think is absolutely brilliant. It doesn't worry me too much that he hasn't won a trophy. I think the team's improved each and every season. I really like watching the way that they play football. So they worry me from a personal thing because I know how good they are. I know how good Liverpool are as well. But when you've got two teams who are so similarly matched, it can go either way. Now, I obviously think Liverpool are going to win. I go into every game thinking and hoping and believing that Liverpool can win. But looking at it analytically, Tottenham are a team who are absolutely superb and can blow you away in 15-20 minutes, just like Liverpool are. So it's so finely balanced, this one, that listen, you're just guessing who's going to win this. There's no standout team that's better than the other at this stage of the season.
When it comes to your games so far, there's two games that obviously stand out. There's the Man United game, 3-0 away at Old Trafford. Yeah. And then the week after, losing to Watford. What do you, having gone through both of those, what do you take from the two of them?
It's hard to say. I mean, the first half against Man United, they were a better team than us. And then we blew them away in the second half, 2 quick goals which changed the complexion of the game. But Man United weren't bad in that game. It was just that I think the scoreline flattered us somewhat. But we deserved it because we put the ball in net 3 times and they didn't. But the Watford game was something else. They had so much more fight. They were bigger and stronger, and what they lacked for in quality on the ball, they had in just desire and strength. So the issue we had was that we came up against Dembele. Dembele came up against their midfield of Capoue and Doucouré. And Doucouré, sorry. And he's essentially when Dembele doesn't play well, Tottenham don't play well. If he's on the pitch, it's based on his performance, how well we do. And for the first time I've ever seen, he got out-muscled in midfield, and it's just showing a sign of his age. He's not able to do what he used to do, and you've got two mammoths in midfield.
But he played brilliant against Pogba the week before.
Pogba was a different test, and Liverpool might be a different test, but Pogba was a different test for Dembele.
Is that because that's Pogba in a Man United team that doesn't run you into the ground like a Liverpool team?
He's physically stronger than Pogba is. He's able to compete on 50-50s. He's able to hold Pogba off where he couldn't do the same thing with Doucouré and Capoue. It caught up with him very quickly. I'm not saying he's finished, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying in 90 minutes he didn't have a great game against two people that were very physical with him. Yeah. Is all. We only had one defensive midfielder. So Liverpool for a different test of Watford. It'll be a different game of football. And like you say, I agree with what Chris says. I have no idea. I would say actually Liverpool have the advantage. I would say they're better set up to beat Tottenham at the moment. I think they're strengthened excellently, something I wouldn't know anything about. And I think as the season pans out, you'll see that one club has invested and one hasn't, and maybe it'll start to.
You think that's going to cost you as the season goes on?
Yeah, inevitably, you win. The way to win, be successful, is to spend money. That's the easiest. That's one of the main ingredients into being a successful football club. Liverpool have seen where there's issues in their first 11, and they plugged them by spending money intelligently.
What were the issues in your first 11?
I mean, that's a good question. We're not. It's not. I don't think there's issues with the specific players. I just think there's the risk of inertia that goes into a squad where there is no change, and so the desire is different. That said, you know, there's Naby Keita coming in, Van Dijk coming in and doing so well, Alisson coming in. They want to prove something, and that energy is rubs off on the other players.
And you got a Milner and a Henderson going, hang on a minute, and they're that sort of player. They're not going to take it lying down. They're going to raise their levels.
Absolutely,
more, right?
and it's like almost cliched. We say this stuff all the time. You know, you need competition in your places. With Spurs, we didn't have that. What we did have though, and what people haven't been talking about, is we've had 3 people that are coming into the side that didn't play last season, and literally didn't play at all. Alderweireld started the season, first couple of months, got injured and didn't play again. Lucas Moura wasn't Lucas Moura as we know him today. He played 4 games, a couple of League Cup games, that was it. And Harry Winks was injured for the vast majority of the season. If those 3 people stay fit and can, it's like signing 3 players. It isn't like transfers. It's not as exciting as the guys you bring in, but in terms of bodies in, it is.
The final question I want to ask about Spurs before we get into Liverpool is that after that defeat to Watford, I saw a couple of things about a lack of leadership at Spurs. Is that feels like utter nonsense to me.
Yeah.
Do you think that's just, oh look, they've lost a game of football, what can we pick on? Let's go with that. I think it's Jermaine Genius who said it. Do you agree with any of that?
No, I didn't agree. I love Jermaine Genius. I think he's a great pundit and he always sticks it up Arsenal, and I like that. But he was talking dribble in that. He was saying that Spurs don't know how to win bad. We've won so many games playing badly in the lot since Pochettino took over. It's been insane. It's one of the main attributes is we don't lie down anymore. We find a way of winning matches. So I don't know where that come from. It was weird. The leadership stuff is again another one of those cliched bollocks sayings that people
They've lost
say
a game of football, what can we blame it on? I'll pick this one out, our leadership today.
Yeah, that's what it feels
Some of
like.
that ultimately isn't quantifiable as well.
I don't think so. Yeah, exactly.
You've got
Saying
Alderweireld, I mean, he's a captain, isn't he?
Yeah.
Tongan, he's probably a captain. Lloris is the World Cup winning captain. Harry Kane is captain.
Kane is the captain of England,
I think it's nonsense. So on the other side of that, with
Dyer
Liverpool,
is captain of England.
Dyer is captain of England. Yeah. On the other side of that, with Liverpool, Spurs have lost that game. So, like, as we know, working in this business, people go, right, what's the negative spin we can put on that? With Liverpool, do you think there's some rose-tinted glasses when it comes to Liverpool because of how well you started the season, which, you know, deserves merit, but you're right. We're all struggling with these chairs, I know. Do you think people are giving Liverpool too much merit because they haven't really played anyone of huge worth yet?
Yes and no again, and I'm going to sit on the fence by the looks of it this show.
She's more comfortable than this.
Yeah, to damn straight, at least I can sit on the fence without falling off. I think Liverpool in the past wouldn't have got 4 wins, so I think there's definitely an improvement there from those 4 games. You know, Palace away, I believe, is going to be a tough place to go all season. Leicester away is going to be a tough place to go all season long.
Brighton at home was harder than people would suggest.
Absolutely.
Actually.
You know, we only beat them 1-0, but it was a difficult game for us. And you know, 88th minute, Alisson makes a save that wins us 2 points there, and not many people were talking about that. Whereas the fans in the ground were thinking, we've seen that go in so often over the years and come away with a draw in those types of games. So I think we should be applauded for the fact that we've managed to get 12 points out of 12. I think what skews it, and I was saying this to Flav earlier on, is that we won 4-0 on opening day. Now everyone at the time thought West Ham were going to be maybe pushing for top 10. They'd spent about 150 million. Pellegrini's a Premier League winning manager. No one knew how bad West Ham were. But you saw the headline as Liverpool just rolled over West Ham 4-0, and you think we're playing exactly the same way, and we did as well. We thought we'd started the season exactly how we ended it, and what we've seen over the last 3 games is a grittiness to Liverpool's performance that we probably haven't had in the past. You know, defensive stability. We haven't been firing on all cylinders going forward, but equally we're not worried, because I think the biggest thing that I've taken from this part of the season so far is I don't think we're set up how we're going to end the season. I don't think the big clubs are playing well. I don't think the way the table looks now is going to be anything like what it looks like towards the end of the season, because I do think that the World Cup has had a huge effect on teams.
So you think at the end of the season that the starting 11 that people think of when they think of Liverpool is not the starting 11 that you're seeing at the moment?
No, I'm sorry, I'm talking more about how the teams are performing.
Right.
You know, I think Tottenham have had a blip. Manchester United have had a blip. Arsenal, Chelsea are playing really well. I think Chelsea maybe fall off a little bit. I don't think Liverpool players, you know, get the results all season long, but we're there or thereabouts. Man City will turn it on a little bit more and start playing better football. I just don't feel like we've got a true reflection of what this league's going to look like yet.
You often see leagues starting this way. Certainly in the Premier League, after an international tournament, it is a bit bitty and a bit clean, and nothing's quite clicking as yet, because you know, these players are coming off of, on some of them, long World Cups, otherwise huge breaks. They haven't played with their teammates. New players coming in, and not the case with Spurs, but we have a long international break. So the quality you're seeing, as the Premier League football brand is known to be, probably isn't quite there yet. I think as rolling on towards November, December, you'll start to see the teams that are going to click into gear. West Ham won't be one of them.
So moving into this game, what's the weakness that, if you're a Spurs fan, you'd be looking to see exploited in this game?
If you're a Spurs fan.
So how do you stop Liverpool?
Oh, yeah. What's the weakness of Liverpool?
Just basing off the Leicester game, we didn't put our foot on the ball enough. You know, we didn't even win the possession, which we normally about 60-70% possession during games of football. I think we played about 400 odd passes against Leicester, whereas on average we've been averaging 650 passes.
What did Leicester do then?
It's Claude Puel, so really compact, two banks of four, very, very difficult to play through, and they actually pressed us quite high at times as well, so they picked and chose the battles really well. I think the good thing for Liverpool is that I think Tottenham will play the way that they play, and I think that might match up quite well against us. You know, the way that we play against Manchester City, where we try and steal the ball back high up the pitch. If Tottenham play football, I think maybe we've got an advantage. You might see that gegenpress come back in that we've not really been allowed to do this season so far, because that really doesn't happen when you're playing at Anfield with 70% possession.
Yeah. And Spurs, what do you think? What do you think the weakness of Spurs is?
I think. I don't know. I mean, I don't think Kane's up and running just yet. You know, he's not. I haven't seen him shoot from outside the box for ages. I don't think he's had a shot from outside the box this season. Certainly not one on target. In any case, his style's changed somewhat. He's up front with Lucas Moura, and we've had 3 wins out of 4, so you can't complain too much. But like we said just previously, the things haven't clicked as well as they could have done. I don't think Kane likes playing up front with another person. I think he wants to be on his own. He's quite a selfish footballer in some fashion. In terms of going for
really?
Goals. Yeah, and
he doesn't want to share the goals around. No. Are you sure?
See, this is it. This is where the rivalry comes from.
Can we go back? Right, it's not a rivalry, and I'll tell you why it's not a rivalry. Yeah. Tottenham are just a team that we play twice a year. Yeah. Until we start playing each other in cup semi-finals or cup finals or Champions League, they're just another team in the league that we play twice a year.
Yeah,
and it's exactly the same for Tottenham to Liverpool.
Yeah.
We just happen to be around the same area of the league.
And you see in leagues where teams are playing on a comparable level, and like I said, I don't think we are on the same level this year. I think Liverpool are above Spurs, but the kind of digging happens. And then it becomes less relevant when there is a gap. Like you had the same thing with Chelsea. You had a massive thing with Chelsea for a while.
But then we were playing them in Champions League semi-finals every couple of years.
Yeah.
You know, you were playing them more than twice a season. A lot was resting on those games. It feels more like Liverpool are having a rivalry with Man City because they beat us in the cup final a couple of years ago. We played them in the Champions League quarters and all that. That's where rivalry springs from. You can't just have a rivalry with someone down south because they're a good side. It doesn't work like that. Twitter can't influence whether there is a rivalry or not.
The rivalry is definitely the wrong word, isn't it? To just go
something aggy going on.
There's something on there. There's something aggy going on. There's we'll play. I think we have to
stoking the fires.
I'm just saying there's something.
We've got to play a back three. We've got to play a back three against Liverpool. I think in order. I think we're potentially going to get opened up quite convincingly if we play a back four, which means we're going to be less.
You're a home, remember? Like, you know, you should be taking it to them, right?
Well, are you mad? You don't take it to the best attacking side in the league.
But you're a cracking side yourself.
This is why QPR are where they are.
What? Because of my distant comment on a Spurs game?
Yeah.
What are you on
the
about?
wrong mentality, mate. Wrong mentality. Look, Liverpool,
So what, you're going to just park the bus?
I'm saying be respectful of Liverpool's attacking threat is what I'm saying, right? We won't be parking the bus. We'll probably end up playing 2 up front. We'll try and hit them on the counter. I think I would give Liverpool the possession and soak it up like we did brilliantly against Dortmund last year. They were excellent on the ball, but we did a similar thing that Puel did, is frustrate. Don't allow they look great. They it was one of the best first half performances I'd seen from a team in Dortmund. And they just controlled the ball, but
sound scared.
Every single time we got the ball,
You sound a bit scared.
we hurt them. And if we do that, I think it won't be what Klopp would anticipate, and we might be able to shock Liverpool. But I can't call
I
it.
like it.
I'm nervous.
I like it when teams play 3 at the back against us, because I feel like you're going 1-on-1 with our 3 best players, and it feels to me like that's an advantage that we could
Really?
find. Yeah.
This is how smart Trippier and Davies are, because it becomes a 4, doesn't it?
Or if you're forced into it being a 5 and you don't get forward at all.
But equally, like Mo Salah has been affecting football matches this season, but he's not been the Mo Salah, just like Harry Kane. They're not firing on all cylinders yet. Our danger man has been Sadio Mane all season long. He has been the guy, and I love the stats side of football, I really do. But I love the eyeball test just as much. And the guy who gets you up off your seat, that's the guy that's exciting you. And Sadio Mane's that guy this season, and he's drifting into space in like the number 10 position from that left-hand side.
He seems to be a bit more central when
and I think about like when Raheem Sterling played for us in that 13-14 season, or around about that time, and he was drifting into that space and finding space in between the lines. That's what Sadio Mane's been able to do recently for us, and it's really good to watch. He's really exciting, and Firmino's just an absolute monster, like.
Yeah.
So how's it going to end? How's the game going to
go? I think Liverpool will win 2-1. I don't see Pochettino sitting back personally, but I don't watch Tottenham as much.
No, you won't. He has a system and he sticks to it. I think Spurs 2-1. But I'm not sure at all. I can't call it.
The interesting battle for me is if Joe Gomez goes up against Harry Kane. That's a huge test for him. Now, we saw what Dejan Lovren did last time out with Harry Kane, trying to be aggressive, and Kane used Lovren's aggression against him and turned him all the time. And we played Crystal Palace the other week, and Joe Gomez is like, his ability to spot danger is really, really incredible. But what he was doing when he was playing against Christian Benteke, and I was wondering how this would work out, he wasn't contesting the first ball. He was making sure he was there, and Benteke knew he was there. But when Benteke like chested the ball down, he was getting it at his feet.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's when he was like doing that, you know what I mean? Whereas Lovren like tries to nip in front of you, and Kane will just shift his body weight and be in behind.
One of Kane's underrated abilities is he's reading of the play and what other players are doing, and he uses the force or the energy.
The force?
Wow!
He's got
to choke people from miles away. That's my goal.
He uses the position of the opposite players against them often, and he looks like he's played the ball way too far. He looks like
the force is strong.
The force is strong in Kane for sure. He looks like he's overplayed the ball often, and he hasn't. And I think it will be an interesting matchup. I just hope we see the Kane of last season, and I know it's over-expecting. I'm not sure he's quite there yet, but fingers crossed. It'll be a good game of football. It always is with Liverpool.
If you're asking, I think it'll be a draw.
We weren't asking.
No one asked you.
What are you even here for?
Yeah, we could have probably done that alone.
Yeah,
better as well.
You can do the wrap up then.
I
don't need this shit.
I'm panicking.
I'm off.
Don't make me do that.
You did this to me the other day. Go on.
Flush the chain this time.
Don't forget it's One Football sponsorship.
One Football
That's all
sponsorship.
I give you.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Hope you have a really bad day on Saturday.
As do we. I'm talking to you afterwards, aren't we?
Are we?
So on Saturday, by the way, on Bullshit, we're doing a live, well not a live reaction, but a reaction to the game. Me and Pajak over Skype are going to be talking to each other, and you know what? It's literally the last thing I want to do if we lose.
Yeah.
It's nothing worse than that.
No,
I promise you I'll be graceful if we win.
You're never graceful.
I'm graceful!
You're not graceful.
All right, thank you. Cheers for watching. If you got this far in the video, you must have got something from it. Please consider hitting subscribe. Until tomorrow.